It was a cold Friday night in 1983 when armed men slipped into a quiet stud farm in County Kildare. Within hours, the most famous racehorse in the world had vanished. No ransom was ever paid, and no body was ever found. And for more than 40 years, Shergar's disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved crimes in Ireland. To understand why the world was so shocked by this kidnapping, we must first know who Shergar was, and why he was worth risking everything to steal. Shergar's story began on the 3rd of March 1978, when a bay cult was foaled in Ireland. Bred by Aga Khan IV, one of the most influential figures in the world of horse racing and breeding. Even as a young horse, Shergar stood out. He had the right pedigree, the right frame, and a temperament that trainers dreamed of. He was sent to England to be trained by Sir Michael Stout, a rising star in the training world who quickly recognised Shergar's potential. And in 1981, that potential exploded into greatness. Shergar's 1981 season is still talked about today. In race after race, he not only won, he dominated. But not in compared to the Epsom Derby, the most prestigious flat race in Britain. On the 3rd of June 1981, ridden by jockey Walter Swinburne, Shergar stormed ahead of the field. As he turned into the home straight, he simply powered away, winning by 10 lengths, the largest winning margin in the Derby's long history. It was a performance so extraordinary that commentators began calling him one of the greatest thoroughbreds ever seen. Shergar didn't stop there. He won the Irish Derby, then King George VI and the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, confirming his status as the outstanding racehorse of his generation. By the end of 1981, he was a superstar. After his incredible season, the Aga Khan retired Shergar to Ballymoney Stud in County Kildare. There, his value skyrocketed. Shares in the stallion sold to investors and breeders, valuing Shergar at over £10 million, a staggering sum for the time. He was more than just a champion racehorse now. He was a prize breeding stallion with a long and profitable future ahead of him. But that future was about to be cut brutally short. On the 8th of February 1983, just after 8:30 p.m, a group of armed masked men arrived at the home of Jim Fitzgerald, Shergar's head groom. They forced their way inside and held his family at gunpoint. Fitzgerald was ordered to take them to Shergar's stable. Under threat, he complied. The men loaded Shergar into a horse box and drove him into darkness. Fitzgerald was blindfolded and driven around for hours before being released with a warning. Tell anyone and your family will suffer. By the next morning, the world knew the truth. Shergar, one of the most valuable horses on earth, had been stolen. And then the ransom demands began. Soon after the kidnapping, the owners began receiving calls. Kidnappers demanded £2 million for Shergar's safe return. But the negotiations were complicated. Shergar wasn't owned by one person, he was owned by a syndicate, dozens of shareholders who all had a say in what to do. Some wanted to negotiate, others refused to consider paying criminals, and all the while the kidnappers grew impatient. They offered what they claimed was proof of life, but it wasn't convincing enough for the police or the syndicates. And just a few days later, the phone call stopped. No ransom was paid, no future demands were made, and Shergar was never seen again. Investigators quickly suspected the kidnapping was carried out by the Provisional IRA, who were believed to be raising money at the time. However, there was never any official admission, and no one has ever been arrested in connection with the crime. Years later, a former IRA man who turned informant claimed that the operation went disastrously wrong. According to his account, the kidnappers were not equipped to handle a highly strung thoroughbred. Shergar allegedly panicked, injured himself, and the gang decided to kill him. Some media investigations suggested Shergar may have been shot within a few days of the kidnapping. Others speculated that it may have been even sooner. But these accounts have never been verified and no remains have ever been found. The disappearance of Shergar remains one of the most baffling crimes in Irish history. No arrests, no physical evidence, no body, and no confirmed final sighting. All that exists are rumours, claims, and a long trail of dead ends. For many, that is what makes the story so haunting. Shergar wasn't just an animal. He was a champion, a symbol of beauty and speed, and a source of national pride. His kidnapping sent shockwaves far beyond the racing world. Today he is remembered through documentaries, books, investigations, and even a major racing event, the Shergar Cup. But the truth of what happened on that February night may never be fully known. From record-breaking triumphs on the track to one of the most notorious crimes in Ireland, Shergar's story is one of brilliance, tragedy and unanswered questions. A horse who ran like no other, stolen in the dead of night and lost to history.